Disclaimer: don't draw parallels to the real world. This universe is purely fictional. Hello there, travelers. This is me, Chef Baltazar, and today I am going to talk about some species of my universe. The Valeinars. Valeinars are the collective name of all sentient species that originated from the planet of Valein. The species include Carians, humans, Molos, Cottuks, Nymphs, Naviches, Morphobos, and sometimes the artificial species of Cottucriers are also included. Carians. Carians are lizards, most are human-sized with relatively fragile skeletons and fast metabolism. Carians have fused transparent eyelids similar to snakes and little to no facial expressions, which is why emotions are often expressed through tail movement, gestures, and intonations of voice. Carians have four subspecies: common or forest ones, mountain or dragon-like ones, swamp and water carians. All types of carians, except for the swamp ones, have horns. Men may have the so-called lower horns, located in the lower part of the head, and women have brightly colored membrane scales. A carian of either gender may have rounded red bumps on the cheeks. Once used to attract a mate, they are now simply considered attractive among the carians. Their limbs have 3 fingers or toes. Average lifespan ranges from 60 to 85 years. The forest carians is one of the most widespread carian races. Another name for them is the common carians. Their scale colors range from oak to black-brown. Some forest carians, pure or mixed blood, are mages of illusion. During the time of the Four Kingdoms, they inhabited the kingdom of the giant trees or giant forests, founded by Conocharus the First from the House of Ergis. This realm was known for its economic power, and House Ergis is now the head of the Ergis Industries Corporation and is the wealthiest Carian house to ever exist. Dragon-like Carians. Also known as mountain or winged, the dragon-like carians range in color from golden to dark red. They are the only carian race that has wings. They have an elongated neck, a more rounded head, a lightweight skeleton, and a thin tail with an arrow-like tip at the end. Some of the carians with mountain heritage are fire mages. During the time of the Four Kingdoms, they inhabited the Kingdom of Dragons, founded by Ingiola of the House of Ingi of Hearts. This realm was known for its military power and popularity of dragon-worshipping cults. Swamp Carians. Swamp, venom, healing, or hooded carians have neither horns nor membrane scales, but instead have hoods and more visible two front fangs that are venomous, though over the course of evolution their venom has become very mild. Males have more rounded hoods, while females have sharper hoods. They can hide or stretch the hoods to show an expression. Colors range from mint to dark green. Some of the carians with swamp heritage are mages of Venom Hill. During the times of the Four Kingdoms, they inhabited Noraola, founded by Irsi the Honest, or Irsi the Fair, from the house of Rahesh, the most talented healer of her time. The Noraolians were the best healers, talented spies, and resourceful scientists. To this day, many swamp carians are considered to be great friends, but also dangerous enemies to have. Water carians. Water or coastal Carians have a slightly more elongated face and, in connection with swimming, a slightly stronger build and a broad, slightly flattened tail. Their scales range in colors from sky turquoise to dark blue. Carians of this heritage can sometimes be water mages. During the time of the Four Kingdoms, they inhabited the kingdom called the Eternal Oceans, founded by the high priest Etashrikir the Wise from the house of Satotso. They were recognized seafarers and pious Etashriwal Kerans. Molos. Molos are mammals covered with fur and having three keratin growths on their heads, turning into tall horns on the sides and one in the middle behind the head. The skin color ranges from bluish gray and white to pink and black, and the color of the fur varies from white to black or different shades of red, orange, and brown. The pupils are horizontal, the ears are elongated, the cheekbones are in most cases well defined. In men, the large lower canines look outward, forming tusks. The upper limbs are three-fingered, the lower ones are two-toed. Some molos are mages of enchanting. Their average height is 130 to 140 centimeters, and they are stronger and tougher than most other species. Their average lifespan is from 70 to 100 years. Kuttuks. Kuttuks are arthropods from the southern mountains of Valona, where they have a network of underground cities called Katrets, with their capital at Katretzir. They have two pairs of arms. The sword is transformed into a kind of axe or sickles, and three pairs of legs. The fourth pair, the last, is transformed into something like horns or claws on the tail, used for clinging to rocks or dragging eggs or stones. The body consists of 8 segments, including the head, often colored in colors ranging from hazel to black-brown. Men have a black elongated head, women have a broader, flattened head, a lighter color, and they themselves are larger than men. Both have 4 green or blue, rarely orange eyes that reflect light, similar to cats, and provide Kuttuks with great night vision. Kuttuk's names are made up of the name itself, the ch suffix indicating that the Kuttuk belongs to the city. All parts are separated by an apostrophe. Due to settling outside the original Kuttuk territory, city names now act more like clans than a Kuttuk birthplace, with the child usually taking the city from the mother. Example: Kirk, Chich, Kut, Red, Tit. Average lifespan 100-130 years. Kuttuk Criers. Kuttuk Criers or Criers, something between a robot and a golem, having its own mind and working using a core. Both the heart and the brain of the crier, a relatively small thing made of magleaf, a stone capable of absorbing mana. It is uncertain if crier mind is really its own or its mind of the mana in the core, since the type of core mana and the character of crier seem to have a connection. They have 4 slots for the upper limbs and 4 for the lower ones, and therefore they can resemble centaurs. They have something like a plate in the lower front of the body on which the symbol of the manufacturing city is engraved. If it is important to convey what expressions their words have, Then they say before beginning the sentence what the expression should be. For example, sarcasm, that's very fine. Names consists of crier, the tzk suffix that opens the name itself, the chich suffix, the name of the manufacturing city. Example, crier, tzk, kirk, chich, kt, red, tt. Average lifespan is unlimited as long as the core is functioning. Humans are a widespread species and have three ethnic groups: Atrithians, Northmen, and Desertians. Atrithians, the people of Autrith, have a light skin color, black, blonde, or sometimes red hair. The face is somewhat rounded, the nose is usually thin, medium, or strongly protruding. They got their name because of the capital and the kingdom of the same name, Autrith. Some of people of this ancestry are mages of sorcery and or electricity. Northmen are people initially living in the far north of the territories of the former kingdom of Eldrith. They have dark or red hair, white or tan skin color, protruding cheekbones, and an epicanthic fold. Some of people of this ancestry are mages of sorcery and or electricity. Desertians are people who initially inhabited the Great Desert. They have dark hair, dark or tan skin, most often a straight nose, sometimes with a hump. They are more hardy than others on average, though they don't possess magic usually. Nymphs are shell-covered mollusks. The color of the soft tissues varies from salmon to copper and from grey-blue to grey-green-blue. The carapace is usually from light cream to sandy beige. They have one eye in the middle of the front of the head, two very small simple eyes on the sides, which are almost invisible. They have a black beak, men are somewhat smaller than women, their shell plates are larger. Their average lifespan ranges from 100 to 110 years. Morphobos are creatures composed mostly of metamorphosis mana, controlled by what appears to be a white-horned mask, the only place vulnerable to physical attacks. Color almost black-dark purple with a bright purple shimmer, white head. Strictly speaking, they can take almost any form if they have enough mana for their size, but since they cannot stay in places for a long time without enough metamorphosis mana around, spacesuits are put on outside the spirit woods in specially equipped habitats. But however, no one interferes with making their own spacesuits with the shape that the Morphobos needs. They almost never speak of themselves in the singular, as their mind is essentially the hive mind of the mana that forms their body, and they can communicate with other Morphobos in about 25-meter radius. They tried communicating with other types of mana, but whether they can't or mana doesn't talk back isn't clear. They do not have their own names because they communicate through telepathy among themselves, so they need to introduce themselves. They use the names of other species or the combination of sounds or names of things they like. In 896, after Ascension, Morphobos began to spread through Valona until 950, when the Avatar was destroyed and the minds of Morphobos were freed from its will. However, in society many people are still afraid of Morphobos, questioning if they can stay self-conscious if a new Avatar appears. Average lifespan is unknown, possibly unlimited. Naviches are in fact coastal plants. They reproduce by pollination, and the navich remains in the sprout state until about 50 years old, at which time the navich looks like a kind of water lily flower made of stone and stems. Then, for another 25-30 years, there is a period of young navich, when the navich already has a humanoid shape, and the stone cover is not fused together, consisting of many small stones. After that, there is a growth and fusion of stones of the cover, a separate torso, shoulders, parts of the limbs are formed, small stones still remain in the joints. After the age of 250, it is especially important for a navich to have a mobile lifestyle, otherwise the stones will randomly grow and grow together, including the joints, causing troubles with movement. At the end of their life cycle, naviches become rocks. The color of their eyes is red. The stone plates on the head can form eyebrows for some kind of expression of emotions. The main plate of the head can take on a different shape, from a smooth long stone to a wide plate with many sharp points. Behind the head is something like a bush. This part can release pollen or receive it. Previously, naviches were much larger and needed more food. This is how the famine began, because of which some naviches moved to the north of Valona. This is how the 372-year Mage Navich war began. The naviches that stayed on Valenorum have gathered around the Care Godstone, and its magic caused them to become smaller, and soon they could recover from the famine. Average lifespan ranges from 350 to 550 years. There is also this race or species called Cetons that sometimes is included in Valeinars, but usually is excluded from the group. Cetons were artificially created as relatively cheap engineers and soldiers. It is not known who exactly created them. They were officially found by chance in the uninhabited places of Valane. Most of the incubator laboratories were on the territory of Valon and Lore-18. Specimens have been observed to have a metallic reddish-green coloration in the incubators of Valane or a reddish-brown coloration in Lore-18. The rare cetons of Heoti have metallic grayish-blue colors. The keepers managed to restore the process of their production. An organic body is grown in a life pod or life support capsule, and when it has grown, mechanical parts are implanted, feet and a face with 3 red sensors eyes. The capsule is opened before the artificial face is implanted. The ceton located there is not viable and dies within a minute or two. The social position of the cetons is extremely different in different places and in the attitude of different people. So megacorporations see them only as a tool, while people are hostile and wary towards them at worst, and best see them as the next era of the development of life and technology. Cetons know very little history, but are aware of the sentient races of Valane and their names, as well as general basic information which proves them being developed by one of the groups of the known world. Average lifespan is unknown. Theoretically, it can be extended almost indefinitely if the implants are kept in good conditions. For names, they either use the first two and one last letter of the place of origin, a hyphen, a serial number, for example, Lore-172, or a combination of sounds they like, or the first name given to them by others. That's all Valeinars pieces. I hope you found it interesting. This universe is my passion, so I'm quite nervous telling about it. But I hope this video was of a better quality than the previous one and that you enjoyed it. Please write in comments what you think about it. No matter if it is good or bad, I just need some feedback and I would love to hear from you. This was Chief Beltazar, out.